Did you know you can be highly favored and greatly troubled at the same time? You can be anointed and addicted. You can be saved and struggling. You can be favored and afraid. And just because you feel afraid sometimes doesn't cancel out the favor in your life. I want to tell somebody today, the favor doesn't care about your feelings. When God has a purpose for your life, he's going to do his work no matter how you feel about it, no matter your mood about it. But you get to decide if you want to be a willing participant.
Advice on anything, they would be like, don't listen to this guy. Let God solve it. And I never have an answer to those comments.
Here's my answer. You want to know my answer?
Yeah, help me out here.
If God gave you a watch, is it more faithful?
I'm not wearing my watch. Okay.
If God gave you a watch, is it more faithful to ask God what time it is or to look at your watch?
Look at the watch, man.
Exactly. So when someone's like, I'm really hurting from a breakup, what do I do? And it's like, well, just ask God, trust God. Or go to therapy, process what that means to you. Take care of yourself, go on a run. You have a watch in front of you, and I think that you can, of course, have faith and trust God in all sorts of ways, but sometimes how you trust is by acting on what God's given you to take care of yourself.
Hey, listen, pray on it, pray over it, and most importantly, pray through it. But whatever you do, never stop praying, even after your situation changes.
I pray that when God speaks to us, we will hear him. And we will respond, even though we don't know the answer. It's okay to say, Lord, only you know. How do you feel about the passing of that person? Lord, I don't know. I don't know why it happened. Only you know. How do you feel about losing that job? Lord, I genuinely am feeling disappointed and shattered. Why do you think I did that? Lord, only you know. It's okay to have honesty and vulnerability with God. To tell him when you know and to tell him when you don't. To tell him when you're joyful and to tell him when it hurts. It's okay to have a conversation with God.
If God had showed me how I would have got here, I would have said, no, thank you. No, thank you. I will stay my behind inside. The trauma that it has taken, and that's because we pray for things and we don't realize that God then brings situations into your life to prepare you for what you have prayed for. Let me say it again, for what you have prayed for. You may not be ready to receive. And so everything around you looks like it's just one bad thing after another. But really, when you look at the version of yourself of who you are today, you know full well that the version that you was before would not have been able to receive what you had prayed for. You would have fumbled it. God is not going to let a version of you that's going to fumble it receive what it is that you're praying for. We pray for insight. We want to know how we're going to get there, but it's not our business to know how. That's God's business. You go through the trials and tribulations. You are the doer. You don't orchestrate the plan. You leave that to the big man.
I saw a quote today that just blew my mind. It said something like, I finally realized that I was placed in some people's lives to show them true and unconditional love, whilst they were placed in mine to show me self-love and self-worth.